I think this question is very easy to understand the passage, but if people get it wrong, it's going to be because they don't know the words. So let's take a look. The work of molecular biophysicist Enrique M. de la Cruz is known for blank traditional boundaries between academic disciplines. The university laboratory that de la Cruz runs includes engineers, biologists, chemists, and physicists, and the research the lab produces makes use of insights and techniques from all of those fields. Right? So there's lots of things included here. So what is de la Cruz doing? He's like breaking traditional boundaries, right? An engineer, a biologist, a chemist, these are separate things, right? There's a boundary between those fields. But de la Cruz is breaking those boundaries and putting them all together in his lab and including a diversity of opinions and skills. So we're looking for something like that, a word like breaking. So that's my dumb summary of this passage. So anticipating, you probably know, means to kind of expect something to happen. So he's not anticipating traditional boundaries. They're already there. So he's not like waiting for them to come. It doesn't have anything to do with time. So that's a word that would have to do with time. But if it's traditional, it's already happened. I don't know. Reinforcing, well, there you go. Perfect example of maybe if you didn't understand the passage, a choice that maybe is attractive because it's clearly a word that most people know, and it is a word that you might default to if you just didn't know choices A and B. But the passage is saying the complete opposite, right? He is not reinforcing these traditional boundaries. He is purposely ignoring them, maybe. And then that gets to choices A and B, which also have opposite definitions. And so these are both good words to know. So to epitomize, you might recognize the word epitome in here. Epitome. And basically an epitome is like a perfect example of something. So epitomizing means like the most direct synonym, I guess, would be exemplifying, right? Which is something being an example of something else. So is de la Cruz exemplifying traditional boundaries? No, that again makes it sound like he's using or following those traditional boundaries when what we want to say is the opposite. He's ignoring them, he's breaking them. And that gets us to the correct answer, transcending, which means something like going beyond. So it's a little bit more poetical than what I said, breaking, but it still is the same idea, right? The boundary is there and he is not really following it. He's going beyond it. He's including people from different perspectives and different fields. So if you picked A because you got to the point that I got to at first where you kind of knew what the passage was saying and then you didn't know these words, that sucks, but that happens, right? And this is why sometimes studying vocabulary is really important. I strongly encourage you whenever you encounter words, not just in your SAT studying, but in your English class or in just reading an article, whatever it may be on the television, look up that word right away so that it's more likely to stick in your brain. You never know when it's going to come up. But I would say both choices A and B are words that are worth knowing for the SAT. They could easily come up again. They are advanced, but not so advanced that no one knows them. They are common enough that you would see them in a newspaper, and those are the kind of words that we need to know for the SAT.